He is Dari Nowkhah, lead host, SEC Network. You hear him on ESPN Radio, also does play-by-play. He is all over the place and someone who is certainly an inspirational figure in sports media, which is why we're having him on. This is the On to Something podcast. I am Bryan Fenley. We're going to look at Dari's career and point out ways in which he has been able to inspire and his actions and how what he's done has really enabled others to take a lot of strength. And whether that's from what he's gone through with his career and how he's got to where he is today, but also other adversity that he has dealt with in his life and someone who we can all admire. So, Dari, first of all, I'm so grateful to have you along here and getting the opportunity to showcase your story. I always feel like the world we are in right now, there's so much negativity, but I'm all about the positivity, and you certainly radiate positivity. What is it about? And I'm so focused on your strength as a human being and being able to be persistent in your career, but certainly your persistence outside of your career. Why is Jenn, your wife, the greatest thing to have ever happened to you?
That's funny. I'm glad you said that. I was going to figure out the best way to work her into this because she is. I tell you what, Bryan, career aside and everything else, first of all, thanks for wanting to talk. But no, she is, because we've frankly have seen it all together. We from the time we met through a mutual friend, we didn't date overly long before we decided to get married. She's given up everything for me, for my job, for my career. We met in Nebraska when we lived there together. She moved to Tulsa, where she'd never been before, then to Connecticut for ESPN, then to Charlotte for ESPN, and has just kind of been there and gone along with it. Now we have a fourth child, who we had at an older age. I mean, she just came along less than 3 months ago. And, all the while, I realize what she's given up, but she keeps being there and supporting us and taking care of us. And, it's not fair what I've asked of her over the years, and I realize that it's not, but she just keeps going. And then kind of the strength to keep going after we lost a child 10 years ago. No, it's funny, she doesn't realize sometimes that she is an inspiration, because there are hard days and there are just, the daily grind of 4 kids and a baby, in our mid 40s. And yeah, babe, I told people that we're in our mid 40s, but, it's like, it isn't easy, but she does it. And it should not go without saying how grateful I am. And I try to make sure she knows that, but now everybody knows that, which is awesome.
Your newborn, Addie, when you held her for the first time, what was flowing through your mind?
I can't believe we have her, honestly. I cannot believe we have her. She's, our kids are 16, 12, almost 12, and 9. And then here's Addie, right? So unplanned, unexpected, unforeseen, but okay. So here we are, and we find out in December that we're pregnant, and it's like, okay, well, again, there's a low likelihood we get through this thing. There's just too many things that can go wrong. And we're having all these genetic tests done and just making sure that our age is not, an issue, and that is she growing well? Is she, no chromosomal issues, no birth defects. And it's like, we're just checking off this list like one after another. And we keep looking back, Bryan, to 10 years ago when Hayden was born, and he was born completely healthy. And at 6 days old, he's running 102-degree fever, and we got to take him to the emergency room, where he was then admitted. And they said, well, it'll be 24 to 48 hours after his fever goes away, you'll go home with him. And then his fever didn't go away. And then the breathing got difficult. And then there was a heart problem. And then a blood clot. And then can't get the transplant. And then he suffers a stroke. And it's just like 10 years ago, it's like, if we had a playbook of everything that could possibly go wrong with our baby. It did. Like we literally check. Oh, the odds are small on this. Check it. Who cares? You know, odds don't matter anymore. The 1 in 300,000 chance that he passes away from this. Check that box too. Like we and he lost every single battle 10 years ago. So now this past spring, summer, we're going through all these tests to make sure Addie's good and that Jenn is good and everybody's good. And we just keep checking off these boxes like, okay, well, we cleared another hurdle and we cleared another hurdle and we cleared another hurdle. And then she decides she wants to come a little bit before her scheduled date. And I'm holding her and I'm looking at her. And the long answer to your very simple question is like, holy cow, you're here and you're perfect. And we're doing this again. And we would have it no other way. You cleared every single hurdle. Let's go. And it was awesome.
What do you see in her that you saw in Hayden?
It's the second she was in our arms and we were looking at her, we saw him. Like we had Leighton, my 9-year-old, we had her a year after Hayden passed. She's very more dark like me. Hayden had a little bit of similarities, but he was a little bit lighter. Like we see Addie and it's like, boom, Hayden. Like, I mean, her eyes, her face, her, it's funny, a pediatrician who we met actually through losing Hayden. When we walked in with Addie the first time, she goes, oh my God, it's like looking at Hayden. It really is. Like it's absolutely crazy. So, you know, that part of it kind of took us, you know, aback a little bit because, you know, it's like, whoa, there's a bazillion emotions there. And he got sick and had to go to the hospital at 6 days old. Like, can we clear all these hurdles again? Like we got to this point now, can we completely get through them again? We probably would have had a lot of those thoughts, Bryan, anyways, even if she didn't look like him, but then the fact that she did only magnified them, you know?
The legacy continues from Hayden to Addie, handing off the baton. Dari Nowkhah is with us, lead host, SEC Network, ESPN Radio. I'm Bryan Fenley. How often do you think of your children when you're doing a broadcast?
It's funny, like none of them have watched a single thing I've done. I don't think ever. So I think of them all the time. Basically, what are they doing? Are they being good? Are they, you know, are they treating mom well? You know, but it's funny, like in terms of, I mean, I could be doing taxes or building bridges and their interest level in what I do would be the same, you know. They might be more interested if I was building bridges because then they could say, well, Daddy had something to do with this bridge we're driving over right now. But no, I mean, I think about home all the time when I'm here. Frankly, I think like a lot of people, I mean, you know, we got 4 kids at home. Like I get stressed here at work sometimes just hoping everything's going well there because, you know, we have that challenge of there's nothing I can do. Like, I mean, I can't really do anything right now. Sometimes do I have to parent from work? I try to, but it's not effective, you know? So I think about them all the time, but it's more just from a, like, hope everything's going well at home standpoint.
When you were getting started in the business, that idea of hoping everything goes well, how did that manifest when you were in Kalispell, Montana, knowing that from there, that there were no options but to succeed?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I felt lucky to get in the door. I went to college with a lot of people who never got that chance. I to this day know a lot of people that graduated with goals of doing what I do that never get their foot in the door. They never get that first job. So I was really grateful for that. I loved my time there. I mean, I met some great friends. I had a ton of fun. It's a beautiful part of the country, Northwest Montana, the Flathead Valley, the Glacier National Park area. It's amazing. But it was a stepping stone. I knew that. I mean, you can't make a living doing this in Kalispell, Montana for $18,000 a year, which is that was what I got after I got my raise in year 2, Bryan, in 1999, I guess. I started in 98. So no, it's, if you want to keep doing this, you have to do it well. And you have to make good relationships. You have to treat people the right way. You have to work really hard and you have to be good. Because getting that next job in whatever unknown town that would be at the time is a must. or else find something else to do. You know, I don't know what I honestly, I have no idea what I would do if I didn't do this. I mean, during the pandemic, I got my real estate license because maybe someday I'll need it. I don't know, but um, I knew I wanted to do this for a while, so I didn't feel like I had any choice but to succeed in Montana, you know.
When were there moments, Dari, when that thought of how hard it would be to succeed popped up, but you stayed with it during the grind before you got to ESPN?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of us would have the debate: do I want to work weekends forever? Do I want to work holidays forever? Um, how long can I stay in local TV making very little money? I mean, unless you really make it in local TV. You know, I 6 years into local TV is when I got my opportunity at ESPN, but I was still making nothing, and not enough to support a family by any stretch, and hardly enough to support myself. So you start thinking those things like, okay, this is fun, and I'm around sports, which I always wanted to be, but how practical is it for like living, for having a family, for supporting a wife if need be, whatever it might be. I knew there were going to be challenges, and frankly, there was, at the time, an unknown time limit. I knew I couldn't do it forever, so I better make it. And those things popped up in Montana. They popped up in Nebraska, my second job in Lincoln, and they popped up in Tulsa when I was working in local TV in my hometown there in 03, 02, 03, 04. When I got the job at ESPN, I would say we, because it isn't just me. I mean, she was with me all along. So we got that job, we had plans to get out of the business entirely. Seriously, we were going to get out of the business, move to her dream city of Charleston, South Carolina, and teach and make no money, but be on the water or near the water and do what she wanted to do instead of what I wanted to do. And then ESPN came and we didn't pass that up. But those thoughts were running rampant in my head probably after the first year, when I was just having like a whole lot of fun,
As soon as you got that call from ESPN, or when that relationship was formed, what would a young Dari Nowkhah, who was probably when in Kalispell, carrying his own gear, setting up all of these shots on his own, filming and working 18-hour days and grinding, what would a young Dari Nowkhah think about that moment when ESPN first entered the picture?
Yeah, that was, by the way, that was Kalispell, Lincoln, and Tulsa. That was all of it. But,
yes.
No, it was like, I finally getting the chance I always wanted. Like, this is what I wanted to do when I was in high school. This is what I wanted to do when I was in college. This is, it was, I'm going to be working and walking on a daily basis down the halls of the massive buildings in Bristol, Connecticut. That was the goal. I mean, it was, I didn't know if I'd get a chance to do Sports Center or, other shows that I love to watch. I hoped I would. And fortunately I did for a long time, but no, it was just, I get to go to Bristol, and I get to work at ESPN, and I get to work with people that I've seen and admired for years. That was all I really wanted to do. And I got the opportunity. So I was pretty excited. I think the excitement level, if I go back to that day in 2004, when my agent called and told me that they were offering me the job, I think if it was a single me, I probably would have gone out with a bunch of buddies and bought everybody beers, Newly married me was, okay, this is awesome, but Jenn's going to sacrifice again. And, financially it's going to be good for us, but I don't think she wants to live in Connecticut, and the Charleston thing goes away. And so, there was a little bit of, like, is this the right thing type of deal? But career-wise for me, very selfishly, it's turned out to be.
And now that it has turned out so well, why, despite everything you've achieved, Dari, do you remain so humble?
Jenn. I mean,
yes.
It's funny because when we met through a mutual friend named Angie in Lincoln, Nebraska. And she knew Jenn a lot more than she knew me. She met me through a friend of ours named Clay. And she had a bad first impression of me. In fact, she thought I was cocky, and which I think is a terrible quality to have. And she wanted me and Jenn to get together, but I think he's a good guy, but he can be really cocky. And so when Jenn and I met, I guess she didn't think that. And really every day since then, like, I'm not natural. I don't think maybe I was when I was 24, 25, 23, whatever. I'm on TV and people see me in a restaurant and they might, hey, that's Dari, whatever, like, however stupid idea that, whatever that means, which is nothing. Because I don't honestly think there's arrogance and cockiness and all that is one of the least appealing qualities in a human, as is somebody who identifies themselves by their job. You know, I'm at Dari Nowkhah, ESPN. Like, I don't ever want to be that. I'm like Dari Nowkhah, husband to Jenn and dad to Nick, Nala, Leighton, and Adeline, you know? So if she ever sensed that, she would have put me in my place years and years ago. I don't like people like that. I've known plenty of people like that over the years everywhere I've been, and I've never cared for them. And I don't really want to be that way, you know?
If I asked her, when you two first met and she saw you on sports television, to that young version of Dari, and then I asked her, what's changed the way Dari has carried himself on the air to the one we see now with the SEC network and running things, what would she say is the difference between you as an on-air talent from the time she met you to where you are now?
So the funny thing is, she had no idea what I did for a living.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so my wife, now she's learned a little bit more over the years, but then I don't know that she would have been able to tell a football from a hockey puck. Okay, it's not her sports are not her thing. They're still not her thing. And I love that it's not her thing. I don't need to sit and talk about sports at home. So I don't think she really, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I can even answer that. Like, her concern with me is, am I a good husband and father? Like, really, that's it. Hey, I'm going to go cover the national championship game in Miami. That does nothing for her. That essentially is like, wait a minute, how long are you not going to be here to help me? It's not, oh, that's really cool, good for you, type of thing. It's just not, and I don't need it to be honest with you.
How do you return the favor? Because of your...
I ask myself that every day.
Because of your schedule.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I cut you off.
No. That was basically
I do that too, by the way.
I was going to say, she, like you said, she sacrifices so much for you. And I know you return the favor. Maybe what that is, perhaps it's hard to see on the surface, but how do you show your appreciation and gratitude for her, especially when you are on the road for weeks or days at a time when she has the kids?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, that's the daily grind in my world right there is that, how do I let her know that I appreciate everything? I tell her it all the time. She doesn't like flowers. They die. She I don't have enough vases, whatever. That's the hardest thing because, I try to go home and like take over the lion's share of the kid rearing, right? When I'm home, I try to let her sleep as much as she wants. I try my best to ease every single burden of just day-to-day home life as much as I can, but that doesn't really do it. I mean, she doesn't need me to do more than that. I don't know that I will ever be able to make it up to her. That's a thing. Like, that's a thing in my head kind of all the time. And it can drive me nuts sometimes, it really can. Not in a good way, not in a bad way, but it's there. I mean, it's just there. I don't know. I don't really know. She's not like, it's not like buying her things or whatever. It's really just when I'm home being 100% family, helping with the kids, getting her outside, go sit by the pool for a little bit, doing everything I can to just ease the burden when I'm home.
When you are home and being a father, how has that experience advanced you as a broadcaster in terms of you developing that empathy gene, maybe improved yourself as a storyteller, as a broadcaster. So you being a father and how that has positively influenced your grasp of broadcasting.
Well, I mean, from a practical standpoint, it's made me want to be better every day. It's made me want to. I mean, I've got a family that I love to death, and I've got 5 people at home that need me to do well at this, that need me to take it seriously, that need me to work with people well and treat people well, and make nobody feel like I feel like I'm above them for any stupid reason whatsoever, any insignificant, superficial reason. I'm not, and I know that, and they know that. But it just makes me want to be really good, so that they want to have me around and send me those paychecks every 2 weeks and let me support them. I mean, it's all about them. And this is the great thing. Like, and I'm not, whatever, like over the years, whether it was when we were in the hospital for weeks at a time with Hayden, or it's before births of children or after births of children, or when kids are sick, like this company has been unbelievable to me, to us, in terms of understanding when I can't go to media days, for instance, last July, because Jenn was a month from, having a baby, and taking care of the 3 kids we had at home was going to be too hard. So I didn't have to go, to not try, I'm concerned about the pandemic because I don't want to bring something terrible home to Addie because Hayden got sick from a virus when he was little, and heck, COVID didn't exist, they've been beyond understanding, and I'm really appreciative to them for that. And that wasn't something you asked me, but I do think about and appreciate that.
In what ways, beyond just having your latest child, have actions been shown where ESPN has shown that they're not just looking at you as an employee, Dari, but they're looking at you as a family member?
Since Addie came, you're saying?
I would say beforehand, in
ways, sure.
Yeah, beforehand, or ways in which working there goes well beyond the responsibilities of just, you working there, and the fact that they're evidence of you and them caring so much for you.
I'll tell you this, outside of the building I'm sitting in right now is a tree. It is a weeping willow tree that they put up, and next to it is a plaque that says, "In memory of Hayden Nowkhah." About a month after he passed away, they planted a tree for him. My company in Charlotte here planted a tree that still stands on the outside the corner of this building where I work. So I drive in every day and I go look towards that tree. They never, if I said I needed time, because when he was in the hospital, they gave me all the time I needed. They didn't make me jump through hoops, fill out paperwork. It was just, you come back when you're ready. In the years since then, I mean, they're just, it's family first, like everybody. If I say, and I try to never call out, I seriously, it's not that easy to do that in this business. There aren't that many of us that they can just call somebody else in, it's not like that, but I can't put off an assignment until tomorrow if we have a show tonight, so it's a little different. But anything they've ever needed, if I've ever said, I don't know that I can take this trip because of this reason, whatever you need for your family, whatever you need for your family first. Like, that's just the motto of this company. It makes sense. It's a Disney company. So they've been incredible. Like I said, you go back to January and our original plan to go cover the national championship game in Miami between Alabama and Ohio State. Laura Rutledge was going to go host the shows. Well, NFL Live needed Laura, so they asked me to do it. Well, we're deep into a pandemic. I had just found out a month ago Jenn was pregnant, and I told them, I'm just not comfortable. Honestly, I'm not comfortable doing it right now. And they were great with that. They've been more than understanding on when I haven't wanted to travel, and those days are going to end. I mean, I'm in December, I'll have to start traveling, and it's time, and I need to start doing that. But no, I've never had to wonder if they had my back when it comes to family, and that's been awesome.
Let me leave you with this. Dari Nowkhah is with us. I'm Bryan Fenley. Family man first. Everything else comes behind that. The talent that you have as a broadcaster and the humility that radiates through you. But when you go home, finishing up a broadcast, or you're sitting on a plane and you're coming home from being on site at a national championship or a big game, where do you look for in yourself as the biggest source of pride? Because I know you're not one to brag, you're not one to boast, but where does that inner validation come from for you?
It's that Jen and I have been through so much, good and bad. And we've been married 18 and a half years and have 4 awesome, strong kids that we think we're pretty close as a family. It's one of those things. I like all of us, we know so many people who have been through marriages that did not work. Maybe they quit when times get tough. I mean, I realize, and I've had doctors and I've had therapists and everything else have told me that the number's 80%. 80% of people who lose a child end up divorced within a certain number of years, a couple of years. And that wasn't us. We've had 2 since then, and we're still going strong. So, it is one of those things. Like, I guess I hope that we're setting an example for our kids. Just like everybody else, we argue, we have bad days, we'll have breakdowns, we'll get moody, a door will slam, whatever. Like, this stuff happens, it's family and it's a busy house and there's a lot going on, but we hope that in the end they hey, mom and dad still love each other. And, they cringe when she walks by and I, whistle at her, really just to get an effect sometimes, but, they think we're stupid and goofy, or that I am anyways. But, I just want to be an example, a positive example of what parents should be. And, we'll see as they grow up and have families of their own, how well we might have done.
Dari, you don't need anybody to tell you this, but you're doing a great job. And it's not just you being a positive example for your kids, but so many other people look at you, people that you don't even know, who look at you as a source of inspiration, knowing what you said, the highs and lows of what you've dealt with. And at the baseline of everything, as I wrap up here with you, Dari, undying love and passion. No matter what happens, love seems to be that inseparable bond within your family and whatever you touch. And I want people to know that, because I think that in a way, that is what drives you and why you've made it as far as you have, while also having that humility aligned and armed next to you. Dari Nowkhah, I'm Bryan Fenley. So grateful to have you on here. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, Bryan, good to talk with you. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you.